Welcome to the I Love CVille show. My name is Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you. It's Thursday. It's gorgeous outside. I'm loving life. I'm feeling good. Thank you for joining us on the program. We're live in Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille network. Great program lined up for you. Brian Combs is going to join us. Brian Combs handles music. He handles the brand, the marketing for Pro Nata. Very connected in the music community. Very passionate Crozation. Brian Combs has been on this program a number of times. The last time with chamomile and whiskey. Just a rowdy program. Brian loves to live life. He's a young father many times over, and he's in the thick right now, social quarantining, social distancing, staying in la casa, staying away from people. He's going to join us to maintain some sanity with us on the program. We're also going to catch up with Rachel Burns. We're going to catch up with Lee Elberson. Rachel Burns is a realtor. She's a foodie. She's good people, good friend of the show. So is Lee Elberson. He's the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of Clayborne Education. We move forward. And that's what we do as Charlottesvillians. That's what we do as people. We move forward and we do what we got to do. Good. DWYGD. Do what you got to do. That's what life is all about. We are an advertising agency here at I Love CVille and VMV Brands. We love to work with small business owners from our satellite office in New Providence, New Jersey, to our headquarters here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Two of our favorite clients, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, a 4-generation strong business, and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Sports medicine, physical therapy, chiropractic care, Dr. Wagner changing people's lives. 12 Facebook pages we're live on. Welcome Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome Richmond, Virginia, Northern Virginia. Why don't we, Judah Wickhauer, our director. Just go to the studio cam right now, my friend. I will see if I can get our buddy Brian Combs of Pro Nata on the program. We also have a highlight clip from yesterday's show to play you that we're really excited about here on the I Love CVille show. We feature the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. One of the individuals that embodies the best of Charlottesville, the best of Central Virginia, the best of Crozet is the gentleman that's on the phone with us right now. His name is Brian Combs. He is good people. Brian, que pasa, amigo? How are you, homie? How's it hanging?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging out a lot more at home these days.
Okay, here's the hardest question I'm going to ask you. What is harder? What is more difficult? What is more challenging? What is more arduous? Dealing with COVID-19 and the Combs family, or staying home 24/7, 365 with young children and nothing else to do?
I mean, no question. I love staying at home with my kids and family. So, this virus, and it's really, really scary. It's frightening. It's not even, a comparison. It's like, I don't know. To go back, I have twins. I have 3.5-month-old twins at home right now and a 5-year-old son. So normally I'm working a lot throughout the day, and my 5-year-old son's in a daycare, preschool, and my wife's been on maternity leave for 3 months. And but I'm working a lot of hours. I'm at work Pro Nata, and we've got a lot going on. But honestly, I'm really enjoying getting to know my twins. It's really I
love it, Brian. Well, congratulations on the twins here. I'll get out of your way here. Coronavirus, what are you seeing over there? What are you seeing from Crozet? What are you seeing from the music world? You're a connected guy. You're connected with entrepreneurs. You're connected with musicians. You're connected in the beer scene. You love Crozet. You love Charlottesville. What are you seeing anywhere you want to go on this topic?
Yeah, I do love music. I love Crozet a lot. And, we've been doing music at Pro Nata now since we opened almost 5 years ago. And I've met a lot of great people, a lot of super talented musicians, gotten to know them pretty well. And, and I know it's tough. It's tough for everybody. It's not only tough right now for the musicians, but it's really tough for the people that sort of support music as well. You got your engineers, like your recording engineers, your venues, security people, all the people that are involved in the hospitality. Everything is being impacted right now. So, it's frustrating because, I love music, and I guess thank goodness have all these live feeds going right now with these musicians doing anything they can to help themselves.
What do you make of the live streaming? You like it? I mean, I look, I this is one of the things I like about you and what we're trying to do with the show now. I mean, we're all uncertain. What we're trying to do with the show now is to use technology like you and I love. It's been a work in progress. It is not, it's been fucking hard for us. Okay? I'll cut to the chase. We're kind of figuring it out. But I like to get people like you on there, like Rachel Burns that's coming up, like Lee Elberson. Yesterday we had Ray Cadell. People that are positive. I mean, is a positive thing that we can take, one of the positive things that we can take into this is the democratization of music and the fact that the artist has even more opportunity now to get the world out there, could get his or her brand out there through streaming. Because there's no more concerts, there's no more, I mean, the label still has influence, not as much influence as it once had. It's now it's all about streaming right now.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's especially the streaming aspect. I do enjoy watching it. So now that I have more free time at nights to sort of, when the babies are sleeping and sort of thing, to sort of check out some of these musicians and hear some of their original material. And I have are we being very honest here about it? I love it. I love seeing these musicians, but it's also, so one of the things I really wanted to do at Pro Nata, we had this new building we built over there with a brand new stage, and we really had just gotten into the music thing. We had 3 or 4 bands and had 4 really good shows, and then all of a sudden the virus hit, and things are closed down. And I have a side business called Gaslight BC Media as well that, I was really planning on not only Pro Nata having these shows live, but I was putting a recording studio in the space as well, and I was probably, 2.5 years in the talks of making this happen. And I was like a week away from making that happen. And one of the things I wanted to do was live streaming. I have a background in videography and recording engineering, and I was going to put cameras up all over the place. And I was just probably maybe a month away from really pulling the trigger on having a full streaming, professional looking live streaming series at Pro Nata. So, and all of a sudden this thing hit, and seeing everybody ramp up to embrace this technology is really awesome. I mean, I've seen some great shows on there, and people watching them have the ability to sort of tip them virtually through Venmo or Facebook sites or PayPal. I hope it's working out for them, because I'm really enjoying seeing some of them. But, I would like to see some more professional live stream shows as well, for the local artists as well. Not necessarily just somebody sort of set up in their kitchen with, a microphone in front of them. I'd love to see some really big productions locally, if possible. And I'm just trying to wrap my brain around how we can make that happen, with the quarantine and, so that's where I'm at with it.
I love it. How's Pro Renata? What's going down at the brewery? I know we're all kind of like at a, waiting game right now, figuring out what to do, stay home, get beer to go. Been drinking a lot more beer on my couch in my man cave lately. What's going on at Pro Renata, man? I miss the hop drone. I miss seeing everybody out there. What's going on there?
Yeah, so we really, the second we found out what was going on and they're recommending people quarantine, and we just immediately, we knew right off the bat, I had a lot of shows lined up the next 3 or 4 months, really good shows, so we trying to wrap our head around, when to cancel acts. And, I think we had Disco Risque, I think, scheduled to play the day we chose, that was a difficult decision, there was a lot of people interested in seeing them play on our new stage. We didn't want to do that, but our number one thing, is safety for our employees and our guests as well. So we knew right off the bat, like, having, 300 people, crammed into a space like that probably wasn't the best choice. So, so we had to kind of pull the trigger on canceling those shows, which seemed early in the game, but we just decided it wasn't that early in the game. It was needed to be done. You could just sort of tell what was going on in the world. So, but Pro Nata is open right now. I mean, we're open for to go, and we're not doing the delivery service at all, but I mean, basically we've set up out on the patio up front where it's wide open. The general manager, Kelly, who's awesome. I mean, if you're driving by, going to work or whatever, stop by, say hi to Kelly, pick up a beer. We're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 1 to 4 right now. So we've really scaled it back in just, a few hours, trying to, give some people some hours. And I just hope everybody's supporting these local breweries, Star Hill, Blue Mountain, everybody. It's like everybody's scrambling now to try and figure out how to stay in the game, because these are, difficult times for everybody as far as, the virus and the frightening aspect of that. But when this is all over, people got to go back to work. And so I hope that all these businesses, are being supported and they're still around, and we all go back to work.
Brian Combs, our guest, guys, on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline. Good people, very connected musically, entrepreneurially, technology-wise. What's the plan here? I mean, I love the idea. You have a state-of-the-art venue in Pro Renata. You have a deep Rolodex of musicians that you know. You have people wanting to play at breweries. You have the skill set to do the studio and the live streaming and make it special. I mean, are you just playing the waiting game right now?
I mean, yeah, really, we are. I mean, I've definitely thought about getting over there, and I bought some live streaming gear, some brand new stuff that I had ordered, finally came in. And, we thought about trying to do something on a bigger scale at Pro and Not. It's really difficult to make that choice right now because, I mean, the governor's recommending you stay in your house, unless it's an absolute emergency sort of thing. But so, you know, from my own personal aspect, I really don't feel comfortable going out a lot right now to do much than get groceries and do the very basics. So I'm just, I'd love to be a part of putting on a show over there right now, but it's just too risky with what's going on in my opinion. So that's where I'm
Lewis
at.
Combs asked a question for you. Lewis Combs says, Brian, can folks get gift certificates online at Pro Renata's website?
I believe you can email right now our GM, who's Kelly VB at prnbrewery.com. Email her, ask her about any questions you might have. We do have gift certificates available. We definitely can ship them to you. I mean, no doubt. We have bomber bottles left. We have, I think, 6 of our flagships right now available that you can purchase. You can still do growler fills. Our food truck, Hops Kitchen, which is amazing, awesome food that they do there. They just everybody was hitting the restaurant industry super hard, and they had to sort of take a break right now, from all this. So they will be back when it's all over, and it's difficult times for everybody.
How do you think it's going to impact the beer scene, the brewery scene, the taproom scene? Have you thought about it?
I have, yeah, I have, and I don't know, from a personal aspect, I'm really really glad that my money is not tied up in a smaller brewery right now. I guess I just would be very nervous about that. I think everybody. I hope everybody's going to survive this thing. It's like I know a lot of people were really dependent on people coming to their tap rooms to make money. To pay the bills. Delivery to go is one thing, but everybody's doing it. Everybody's got a little piece of that pie, and people are, I think, getting more and more. Not to be super negative about all this, but this is really frightening, and people are getting more and more hesitant, I think, to just go out of the house and stop and get something or have something even delivered. So I think everybody will be great. I want to think that. I want to be positive about it. I know at Pro Nata will be great. I mean, we own our property there, and we're not adhering to paying a huge mortgage right now. So I think we can sort of weather this storm for a little bit longer than a lot of people can. The owners of Pro Nata just have done a great job of just getting us in a place and, making sure the employees were safe. And I think some of them will be okay, and I hope they'll all be okay. But, I think some of them will be impacted by this a lot. So.
Brian Combs, kind enough to join us, guys. Good people. Brian Combs handles booking at Pro Renata, one of our favorite breweries here at I Love CVille. He's connected entrepreneurially, music-wise, food-wise. You think about this. I think about this a lot. I try to think big picture stuff often. Like, once we get on the other side of this tunnel and the other side of COVID-19 and we're back to a healthy situation, like, how are folks going to enjoy restaurants in Charlottesville and Crozet again, the world again, the country again? I mean, are we going to have the confidence to be elbow to elbow, like in the dining room at Far Downers or at the dining room at like Oak Heart Social or Lampo? Or will we want like a table in between us, elbow-wise? Like, is food delivery now going to be like the new norm and takeout? Like, I just think about all this, Brian, because I'm a huge fan, like you, of technology. I'm also a huge fan of shopping local, homie. And like, I'm a huge fan of like supporting local, a huge fan of the social media and the internet as well. I mean, before we let you go, what do you think of that? What do you think about that? Like, how human behavior is going to change and how the internet is going to impact human behavior and shopping tendencies post COVID-19?
Great question. Yeah, it's I think it just depends on how long this all goes on, but I think it has a great impact every single day. I live in an interesting co-housing community here in Crozet called Emerson Commons, and so the houses are kind of close together, and there's a lot of young kids in the neighborhoods, and the kids just, you can see your neighbors. So my son, 5-year-old, who's home from school, can see all these kids out playing and all that sort of thing. He wants to go outside. He wants to be with them, and I think for the most part, everybody's taking a lot of precautions, especially in our neighborhood. So right now we're entrusting that he goes out and plays with them, and they're 5-year-olds. So stay 3 feet apart, try and do things together and wash your hands constantly when they come in. I don't know, man. It's a real crucial time for a lot of people. So it's, just, you never want to feel like you can't go up and shake somebody's hand. So there's a lot of young kids now who are sort of being told, you can't touch people. It's not great to hug people. It's not great to shake hands. I just wonder if it goes on too long, that will have a big impact on people in the future, at least for a little bit. And of course, it'll be in people's minds going to restaurants and stuff like that. Just it never should have been an issue to wash your hands anyway. But thank God people are paying attention to it in droves now, and sanitizing and just being more cautious about your surroundings. And people are like myself, but also realizing like how important your family is, like being at home. My wife's lucky enough. She's got a great job. She's working right now. And my mom's in town helping with all these kids as well. So, so there are people working, still interacting, but there's a lot of precautions in place, So I think eventually we'll all embrace, we'll all hug, and restaurants will survive and that sort of thing. It will be different for a little while, though. It's just, it's hard to tell what to believe, in social media and stuff like that. You want to believe but there's so many facts and so many, really dramatic numbers, shifts on each end of the spectrum, how one group feels what's going to happen, another group feels. I think it's going to play out for a little while. I don't think we're going to be getting together anytime soon, honestly. I hate to be that way, but that's how I feel.
Well said.
So,
Dude, Brian, the beard is looking fresher than ever, homie.
Thank you. I'm working on it. So
I like it. We've been doing a couch tour on the show of interesting aspects of people's homes, thanks to Zoom and Skype interviews on I Love CVille. Can we get a peek of what we have behind you here, Brian Combs?
Sure. It's kind of a mess. This is my basement.
Okay.
So in our new house, we have a total unfinished basement that I'm turning into a studio. But anyway, I got a keyboard there.
I love it. Okay.
There. I got a guitar over here.
Nice.
Yeah. Some posters. John Lennon, my favorite. Just got here that I'm sort of waiting to put in the studio at Pro Nata. It's kind of been in my basement for a little bit. So I got some growlers over here. I got a growler.
Oh, let me see the growler collection.
Yeah, can you see
nice,
this
dude.
here?
What brands do you have there?
Well, I got Blue Line in New York. I got where's that at? Devil's Backbone.
Pro Renata, of course.
Pro Renata back there, of course.
Nice, Brian.
Star, veteran-owned brewery there. I got another brewing tree there. So yeah, I think I had to scale back because I had a lot at one time. I had so.
I love it, dude.
This is my basement. Thanks.
Nice. Well, thank you for joining us, Brian Combs. I miss you, homie. I can't wait till we can do a Friday here, and you bring a couple of 6-packs, and I have some brown liquor, and we, for an hour, listen to some music. And anybody playing Pro Renata, I appreciate you. The best to your family, and stay healthy.
Thank you. You as well, Jerry. Appreciate everything you do, man. Let's get through this and let's get back to the music. I'd love to have you out to tour the new facility at Pro Renata sometime, too.
I would love to do it. Thank you for coming on the show. Okay. Brian Combs, guys. He is fantastic people. Pro Renata, that's some perspective over there. We have Rachel Burns coming up in about 10 minutes on the I Love CVille show. We have Lee Elberson, the Chief Executive Officer of Clayborne Education, coming up on the I Love CVille show at about 1:20. Brian Combs, good people. Do you guys think about this? And this is why I asked Brian Combs the question. And Judah, get the Ray Cadell sizzle reel from yesterday ready to go. I'm going to ask for that, please, sir. Judah Wickhauer is your director. I'm going to play a clip because Brian Combs has such a good beard. You saw his beard. It was on point. I asked Ray Cadell, who's one of the best barbers in Charlottesville and Central Virginia, who had the best beard. Speaking of beards with Brian Combs, and Ray Cadell had his take yesterday on the I Love CVille show. We'll play that in a matter of moments. I asked Brian Combs this question, and do you guys think about this? how are viewing habits going to be different? How are eating habits? How are dining habits? How are shopping habits? How are our habits going to be different post COVID-19 and coronavirus? Are we going to want an empty table in between us at the dining room? Are we going to go elbow to elbow at the tap room or the brewery waiting for an IPA? Are we going to stand in line for the grand opening at a shoe store to get the coolest and latest Jordans next to people in line? Are we going to camp out for the best seats at the John Paul Jones Arena when Duke and Mike Krzyzewski arrived to face Tony Bennett and Clark and the Wahoo men's basketball team? I wonder about this stuff. Do you not wonder about this stuff? I mean, I'm walking in my neighborhood, or I'm walking from the car to the office, to our I Love CVille studios, and people are literally, and I respect it, I'm not knocking it, I respect it, but people are literally doing like a bell curve, or like a, jettisoning out of the way of me. I hope it's not because I smell. Teresa Davis, welcome to the program. Tiffany Thacker, Ray Fiola, welcome to the program. Judah, I'm going to get Rachel Burns on the line soon. Before we get Rachel, I want to play the clip from yesterday. Do you have that ready to go? You get that mic in the mix, Judah. I want to make the show dynamic with you in the mix. And speak up. You get that mic level over there? Rachel Burns is going to join us in about 8 minutes here on the program. Judah, you got a pretty legit beard as well. Ray Cadell had a good beard. We got Ray's clip ready to go, Judah?
We've got Ray's clip ready to go.
I think Judah Wickhauer may have one of the top 25 beards in Charlottesville. All right, cue it up in 3, 2, 1. Play it, Judah. Here's the hardest question I'm going to ask you. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Dude, how do you have the freshest beard in Charlottesville, dude? It is so fresh right now and on point.
I know a lot of fresh beard. As a barber, I don't look at my beard like that. I look at my clients' beards like that. I can name 10 of the dopest beards in Charlottesville off the top of my head. We're not going to not bring this up, though, now that I'm public. One of the best beards in Charlottesville just retired the other day. It's gone.
Who?
I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it live. I'm going to say it live on iHeartCVille.
Please.
With Jerry Miller. William
Oh,
Jones.
I saw that on Facebook, dude. He looked like a completely different man.
William Jones shaved his beard.
Yeah. Judah, can we get William Jones photos on screen? I'm going to ask our director. I'm going to put him in the hotspot to see if we can get photos on screen. Can you go to his Facebook page, William Jones III?
My man cut his beard off. And we spoke about it, and I understand it. Like, why he did it, like, as a man. I get it. That doesn't mean, like, I'm used to it yet, because I'm not used to the idea, because we're not seeing each other every day, because we're quarantining. So this hasn't, he was one of my beard inspirations 10 years ago.
Dude, his beard is so fresh, and he's come on this show, and dude, our director, Judah, is literally putting the photos on screen, and he's going to give us the heads up, and this is the influence that the talented Ray Cadell has here on the I Love CVille show. Oh, William Jones III. Yes, sir. I'll get him on screen. I'll send you photos via text. Ray, when you saw it on Facebook and William clean shaven, what was going through your mind?
So a lot of things happen simultaneously, and I'm sure a lot of people listening, and yourself included, you got that core group of homies that have like a group chat. This was all happening simultaneously. So I'm sure within minutes, one of us saw the photo. Now it's in the group chat. I'm seeing group chat. I'm checking photo. We're making celebrity look-alike comparisons.
Best beards in Charlottesville. We're getting out of the wintertime. I'm seeing a lot of beards. William Jones III, the owner of His Image Barbershop, went from one of the best beards in Charlottesville to looking very dapper. Judah Wickhauer's got one of the best beards in Charlottesville. Here's the director of our program. I thought Brian Combs was looking fresh with his beard, which I was really impressed with. Judah, your thoughts? Brian Combs, did you like Combs' beard?
Combs has a nice beard. It's got a little ways to go, but it's looking good. I think William Jones III has had one of the best beards around.
I totally agree, Judah. I totally agree. We're going to go to Rachel Burns. Rachel Burns is kind enough to join us. She's a foodie. She's a realtor. She's a lover of Charlottesville. She's just a fantastic person, one of the friends of this program. Rachel, ¿qué pasa? How are you? I'm doing well. How is, for someone like you and me, social distancing and self-quarantining is very difficult to do. We are social butterflies. We love to be around people. Get me some perspective on how you're feeling right now.
I'm getting you, not her. I need you to turn your camera.
I can't. I miss it too. Give me two favors over there. Turn down that volume on your end on the camera. Make sure you can still hear me. Let's talk about this here. So what's the game plan? Someone who likes to hustle and get after it like you. How you passing your day?
I'm still not seeing her.
Come on set and fix it. Rachel Burns, our guest, guys, on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline. So, what's good? What are you talking about with your friends at Aberdeen Barn, at Mangioni's? What's good with the restaurant game here? You miss restaurants as much as I do. Dang!
I'm good.
Yeah, trying to stay connected.
Well,
it's the best we can do.
I love it, Rachel. What are you watching? I know we're talking restaurants here, and we both love restaurants, but what are you watching from the real estate sector? I think people like you are primed to boom here once we get out of this because you got the technology down, and it's clearly going to push the entire category and the world as a whole to technology and doing more of this and streaming and Zoom and whatnot. I mean, what are you watching as far as everything goes?
Well, so first of all, I'm really happy and excited to see how everybody's adapting. I know you had Bill Tucker on and Katie West on a week or two ago. They have taken everything curbside and online, as have a lot of like the county office buildings for recording deeds and stuff. So it's actually, I mean, we're able to carry on business as usual, which is great. And I think that maybe when we do come out in the back end, things end up more efficient because now people have enabled the technologies to be able to do all these things online, which, you know, can free up a lot of time for us down the road. I mean, in the real estate world, every day is different and everyone is reacting differently as they absolutely have the right to do. You know, some people are pulling back and are super scared. And, you know, I mean, I've had 6 or 7 showings this week, though. So every person, it's basis.
So toughest question I'm going to ask you.
Oh, Lord.
Is Rachel Burns cooking now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're cooking.
I always have.
I didn't know that.
I always have. Oh, yeah, I love to cook. The problem is every time I get in the kitchen, it's a 2.5-hour ordeal. But now I have the 2.5 hours.
I love it. Okay, so what's a dish this week? And I want to see the kitchen. I want to see where you do your work here. Before we do, and you give us that tour, what's a dish this week, Rach, that you have absolutely been so proud of that came out A+?
Okay, so I have things I'm looking forward to that I know will come out A+.
Okay.
Last week we did tuna tostados.
Whoa. You and Rob?
Yep.
Okay.
And Rob made tortillas from scratch. We did fried plantains.
Whoa.
It was awesome.
Whoa.
It was great.
Okay. Can you show me where the magic happens over there?
You're kind of in the magic as we speak.
Oh, I like it, Rachel. You got
a little bit of mess.
You got great natural light.
And don't forget the bar. That's really important.
Dude, that kitchen sells that house all day, every day, lady.
So actually, Rob and I redid the kitchen about 2.5 years ago ourselves.
Nice.
So it was a fantastic project.
How did that go with Rob? How did that project go?
It was awesome. Rob's super handy, and I am very good at taking direction.
Rachel Rachel Burns is good people. I love catching up with you. How's everything else going? How's Rob doing? What's he up to? Can he handle self-quarantining?
He has been the project master.
Okay.
He's a doer. He is very much a doer. So Rob has been all hands on the entire time.
Oh, man. Last question, final word, anywhere you want to go. You crushed it. Rachel Burns is just awesome people with RE/MAX. I'm going to throw this to you here. Your advice or anything you want to offer Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh gosh, my advice, just be kind to one another. I will say I feel like there has been a sense of togetherness and lots of care and compassion in the community, which is awesome. Keep it up even after all this is over. That's not a reason to stop being good neighbors and friends and community.
You're A+. Love the kitchen. Thank you for giving us a glimpse.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Have a good one, Rachel. Rachel,
You too.
Rachel Burns. What a kitchen right there. Tuna tostadas. I would eat some tuna tostadas, Judah Wickower. I love one of my favorite parts of the show and how it's changed because of social distancing is the looks into people's houses. We are going to do a montage on this program. Judah, get that microphone on. I'm about to throw it to you, and you go to studio camera, please. We need to do, and why can't we get your face in the show? Go to studio camera now. Why can't we get your face in the show, Judah? We need to do a video montage of people's man caves, basements, kitchens, and where they are doing these interviews on the program. I think people would love it. What do you think?
I think we can do that. I think we just need the video and time to put it together. And then we throw it up.
Yannick, welcome to the program. He says hello to Rachel. Yannick's watching in Florida. Hello, Nashville. Hello, Arlington. Hello, Fairfax. Hello, Crozet, Charlottesville. Welcome to the show. Give it a like, give it a share. Steve Moore, hello, hello, hello. We're going to welcome, in T-minus 30 seconds, Lee Elberson of Clayborne Education. He's going to give us the nitty-gritty from a scientist and an engineer's standpoint on what he's seeing with COVID-19 in Charlottesville, of course, across the world. He's going to give it to us from an entrepreneur's standpoint because he is actively involved with the CIC. Lee Elberson, I believe he's a board member. He's going to give it to us from an active CEO's perspective in running a business. He's going to join us on the program in T-minus 30 seconds to just have a conversation. All we're trying to do is leverage this platform to have a conversation with you and to feature the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. So this show, of course, is, I think, impactful not only locally, but the topics that we cover here are going to impact communities elsewhere because a lot of the trends in the discussion are the same. Judah, why don't we go, my friend, my director, colleague, my guy who sits shotgun, to the studio camera, and then welcome Lee Elberson to the show. We have Lee on the line. Lee, thank you very much for joining us on the program. How are you?
Damn it, Jerry.
Yeah, well, dude, you're flossing. You're looking sharp as ever.
Well, you know, I don't get to wear sport jackets that much anymore, Jerry, so I'm dressing up for your show.
Okay. So you're saying one of the aspects of social distancing and quarantining and this hiatus we're on is Lee Elberson has kind of gotten the wardrobe a little more casual?
Hey, I actually can wear T-shirts, man, for most days of work, so that's a huge step.
Dude, the pocket square is the best pocket square I've ever seen you wear. It's two-tone.
Bam, you know, that's how I roll, man. You know that.
You look good, man. He's got, you clearly can see that Lee has been doing a lot of Zoom and Skype meetings. His entire situation is looking really sharp. All right, I'm going to get out of the way for you, sir. State of the Union, open-ended question, state of the globe, state of Charlottesville, COVID-19. Lee Elberson, you have an analytical mind. I'm curious of your take, sir.
Well, yes, you're right. My background is in physics and mathematics, and so as this situation started to really escalate about a month ago, I try to look at these things from a modeling perspective. You know, I depend mostly on numbers. I don't watch a whole lot of news shows. I feel like there's a lot of sensationalizing of the news that happens. But I'll be honest, I got a bit obsessed. Starting about 2 weeks ago, I'd be waking up at 4 a.m. and trying to improve my forecasting because, I want to know where we're headed as a country, but, also for Charlottesville, right? This is, hitting our local economy hard. But luckily my fiance finally stepped in, and she's like, she'd wake up at 7 o'clock and she'd say, "Babe, you're getting obsessed with this." And I have like 5 monitors, and 2 of them are like my COVID-19 dashboards. And so I've scaled back. I only spend 30 minutes a day now modeling. But, I think the tough part is there's a lot of different pieces of information here. And I could go on for hours about the intricacies of modeling. But, you can look at the numbers. Johns Hopkins has a really excellent dashboard, which kind of just lists where we're at. And we've basically gone from a peak of like a 40% growth rate, which means that we were doubling every couple of days, to we've settled into about a 15% growth rate, which is we're doubling every 5 days, which is a good sign that things are slowing. It means that we are starting to take it seriously as a country. But the unfortunate thing is exponential functions are really tough to outrun. They, even if it's doubling every 5 days, that's still growing way too rapidly. So I think one of the main concerns that I have and that we have as a country is hospital bed saturation, right? Like there's only a certain number of hospital beds that we have. And once those start to get full, you have these compounding problems that happen where fatality rates go up by like a factor of 4 or 5 because people are in such close proximity. And it's just really tough to have the same sort of cleanliness processes with such a high density. So the danger really is that at our current rate, that we could saturate the hospital beds in as little as 3 weeks. And I think this is why the director of the CDC is advising the president that we probably need to take some more desperate actions because, I've had friends say, well, aren't they bringing in more hospital beds? And I said, yeah, I'll just tell you like this. So if we doubled the hospital beds, that would buy us 3 days.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, so you're talking about like you have to really stop the problem, which is you have to stop the spread. And I tend to side with Bill Gates here. I think mandatory quarantine is probably the best way to go. It's as much as it sounds like an extremist, like if you activated the National Guard and you put troops on streets, I think because we've watched so many movies, like we would take it seriously. It's like, oh, so I shouldn't be going to Whole Foods for brownie mix right now, right? Okay, I should stay in my house until this goes over. And so honestly, that's what I think we should do. Again, it might put me in the minority, but I think certainly from a health perspective, that would help us. But you and I both know we're also looking at the economy, right? We don't have some businesses. We don't have months to sort of flatten the curve and wait it out. If we wait 2 months, I mean, plenty of the businesses I work with, they're gone. They won't survive that. So we need immediate action, I think.
Okay, let's go down that road. And I want to go down this road without being a heartless, insensitive person that my wife says I am from time to time. Okay, so I'm treading cautiously. We need to preserve the world and the country in our home by social distancing and quarantining ourselves. But if we go completely balls to the wall with this, it's going to destroy. We have no idea how many small businesses, and then the recovery period is going to be like going through another coronavirus. So we're going through a pandemic now. What is going to keep us from going from a pandemic and then having to go through and recover from a depression economically? You think about that? I think about that daily.
Of course, part of my coronavirus dashboard is the economic impact. And, again, I like to put it in perspective for people. And you think, wow, $2 trillion that they authorized to sort of offer relief. I mean, that sounds enormous. That's huge. That's 3 days of the U.S. economy. And so, when you're talking about something that's this grand and something that can affect almost every business, we need a multi-layered plan, and I honestly think that's what's starting to happen. It's rolling down from the Fed, and I think Charlottesville City and Albemarle County are doing a good job of thinking about that sort of layered approach.
How so? How so? How so?
How so? Okay, so there's. I'll kind of back up and I'll talk about how, like, when I started doing contingency planning, what I thought. And I think every business sort of had this fear that, hey, if I don't generate revenue for 2 months, I'm in big trouble. I mean, my business, Clayborne, and my other business, 8 Hats, we like to think that we are very prepared. We had a cash reserve, but we don't keep like 3 or 4 months of runway in the off chance that we might need it. We use that for marketing costs and to grow the business. And I think many businesses are like that. And so, doing contingency planning is thinking, okay, well, if I can't generate revenue my normal way for 2 months, what can I do? And so, pivoting was sort of the name of the game. And one of the things that Community Investment Collaborative did very early on is our ED called an emergency session and said, we are going to extend all of our loans for 2 months, right? It quickly got followed by the SBA program, which was following suit. And I think last week was a big week for small businesses because the SBA announced 2 major programs, the EIDL, which was already in place. The economic injury disaster loans were slightly modified to help COVID affected businesses. In some ways, though, it was an SBA loan with just a little bit more lenient terms. For a lot of small businesses, SBA loans are way too intensive. They just don't, they don't have the resources, and they're not going to meet the sort of minimum requirements. So the CARES program.
Put that in perspective. How? Give me thresholds, examples.
Okay. Well, so if anybody's been through an SBA process, we went through one last year. You have to submit somewhere on the order of, we submitted about 120 different documents, and you have to have a really long financial track record. And just coming up with if you're a small business, just knowing what all these documents mean and how to fill them out is already a major step. And so I think that's, that was a big hurdle for a lot of these programs. And so, sorry, I'm going to just pull out some of my notes here. Okay, so, I think some of the terms, basically, if you're applying directly through the SBA, the normal process could take 3 to 4 months to give out loans. If they expedited it, maybe they could give that, they could do that in 1 to 2 months. That's, again, that wasn't fast enough. So I think this is where the CARES program came in. And what the SBA did is they started working directly with local banks and said, we need you guys to disperse the funds, and we need to do it quickly, right? We're going to basically modify our typical loan process, our loan committee process, and we need you to put money into the hands of businesses quickly. And I think that's the best way to help our economy. Giving somebody a check for $2,000, I mean, if I just got fired and you gave me a check for $2,000, I'd say, great, you bought me about a week or two, but I don't like that. That doesn't help me at all. I'm still panicking. But if you tell me, hey, look, you still got your job, right, that I can provide for my family, makes me feel a lot better. So the CARES program is an excellent way to work with the local banks and have them help the businesses out, because that's essentially what's happening, right? Like, when I heard this, the first thing our fractional CFO did he said, send a letter out to all of your landlords and ask them for a 2-month extension. He was like, put all the credit card payments on hold, like, buy yourself as much runway as possible. And I thought that sounded crazy until I heard back from everybody and they said, yeah, sure. Which means that if everybody's asking for an extension, I ask for an extension from my landlord, they ask for an extension from the small bank, the small bank needs help from the Fed because eventually it's going to keep rolling up, right? So that's what's happening. They're helping the small banks get the money into hands of businesses, and the fact that there's a potential for a 2-month forgiveness, that's basically like infusing capital, because if it's just a loan, and you have to start paying it back in 4 months, that it's helpful, but you not only have to get your business back to where you were in 4 months, you have to be doing better, right? Because now you have an additional loan payment. So if there's some sort of loan forgiveness, that's really helping with this crisis. So anyway, that's what's happening from the Fed. I know the question was about how are we doing as a locality. So Albemarle County and City of Charlottesville are following suit. They are applying to similar programs, and they are helping disperse those funds through organizations like Community Investment Collaborative, right? They're going through and asking us to do the same thing that the Fed is doing and saying, hey, we need to forego your normal loan committee process that might take a month. We need to put the money in the hands of entrepreneurs as quickly as possible. Can you help us disperse these funds? Because we know the businesses that need it the most, right? We have food trucks, we have nail salons, we have masseuses. They are just devastated by what's happening. And so they are working with organizations like Community Investment Collaborative to help us get funds in the hands of the entrepreneurs.
Dude, you're killing it, man. Lee Elberson dropping knowledge bombs. We got questions coming in. The entrepreneur in me sees a new category, business category opening up. You and I have many things in common. One of the things we have in common is vision, seeing opportunity, and as we gain more experience, we understand the process of launching a business, taking it to market, and have the foundation there to get it to be successful. Dude, don't you see a niche for some entrepreneur to go out there and fill the category of being the conduit or the liaison between the sole proprietor or the small business owner and the SBA, the CARES Act, all this stuff? Someone just comes in, they have all the knowledge in place, they have all the infrastructure in place, they know who to contact, they know what websites to visit, they know what loan applications to fill out, all the shit, and they come in, we will do it for you, and we will scrape a percentage off of whatever you get and keep for ourselves.
Well, Jerry, you are definitely the entrepreneur.
That's a business. A short-term one.
Yes, but I tell you what, at a time like this, it's the philanthropic side of me that says, I'll do it for free. That's why I'm volunteering at CIC. I talk with our executive director every couple of days and ask him, hey, do we have enough staff to help all of our entrepreneurs? Because I think you're right. I can see what's happening. And again, another program that the city's rolling out is they're going to start funding post return to normalcy. So let's say that the Governor Northam was right, that we will be back at it, June 10th. If businesses that make it through it this next couple of months are still going to need help after that. So they're talking about layered support. So they're talking about support programs in that 2 months following, which leads to your first question of, okay, well, we're still going to be coming out of a depression, into a depression, in a recession. How are we going to come out of that as a local community? And so, again, I think that's where our local government is really going above and beyond to help support the entrepreneurs.
Lee Elberson is just dropping knowledge bombs. I mean, the dude's IQ is off the charts, so we know that, and that's why we welcome him on this program, because he makes everybody better. You got questions coming in from entrepreneurs and business owners. Can I fire them to you?
Go ahead, man.
Okay, so James Watson is a good friend of this program. He's a small business owner in the government contracting field, travels across the country. He says it looks like you're guaranteed $10K in grant money for filling out the application openly. This is for sole proprietors as well. A lot of people talking about that, the $10,000 for filling out the application. Lee Elberson, what are you hearing on that? What are you seeing?
Yeah, so I think that's that's a local program, and the guaranteed piece is that nothing is 100%. I think that there's going to be there's going to be a line of people waiting to get that, and the local government's going to support as many businesses as they can. So time is of the essence right now. So as soon as you get a link to an application, whether it be a federal application or whether it be a local application or directly from your bank, fill it out ASAP, because I think last week was telling. SBA launched that program for EIDL, and within 24 hours, they crashed the servers, right? They had to completely revamp it. And now there's sort of, I mean, it's not a completely jankety system, but you're like uploading documents to their Dropbox. And I'm guessing that they have some sort of process by which they're going to review them. So anyway, time is of the essence. When you hear about these programs, yes, there's $10,000 in grants. And there's, again, the City of Charlottesville and Albemarle County is looking at layered approach. So this is probably just one of many relief packages that they're going to roll out.
Lee Elberson, our guest, guys, on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline, Chief Executive Officer at Clayborne Education. I Love CVille says Clayborne Education, the go-to educational resource of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm going to throw this to you, Lee Elberson. Innovation, the coolest innovations you have seen with the entrepreneurs you have worked alongside. Wilson Ritchie, he owns the Whiskey Jar restaurant. He is hosting car washes behind his restaurant so his dish pit can stay active and keep earning a paycheck. I love it. Patty Zeller, who owns Animal Connection in the McIntyre Plaza behind CVille Coffee, she noticed that Chewy.com had a 7-day delivery for dog food because it was being inundated by people staying home. As a result, she's pivoted her entire model in the McIntyre Plaza and is delivering dog food the same day, in some cases on bicycles, pulled with a wagon behind them with the dog food going. So these are two examples of Charlottesville-based businesses, the Whiskey Jar with the car wash behind it, and a pet store, Animal Connection in McIntyre Plaza, doing same-day delivery to offset Chewy's 7-day delivery. What other cool innovations are you seeing, my friend?
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. Pivoting is the name of the game for any business. Both of my businesses that we immediately started to pivot, and I've been in pretty close contact with Scott Williams, who's a friend of the show.
He's watching right now. He's watching now.
Yeah, glad that he's watching. Good to see you, Scott. Scott and I had a conversation because Scott runs a summer camp, right? He puts groups of 50 or 60 kids together and runs a great summer camp based on activity and nutrition. How do you pivot? And so Scott is immediately thinking, okay, well, a big part of it is basically just, instilling good habits, right? Healthy habits in terms of activity and nutrition. And you can still do that in a social distancing environment. And so Scott's immediate thought was to start partnering with other businesses who are in the health world or the education world. He reached out to me and said, hey, can we do a joint program where we can do some education to kids? I can do some activities. I'm going to have them upload videos with contests, right? And so basically still engaging those students and giving them something to do for the summer, because that's, I think, where we're really going to suffer is students are starting summer early and they don't have those normal activities. So I think that there's a danger of a lot of bad habits developing.
Lee Elberson, our guest, Chief Executive Officer, Clayborne Education on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline. Scott Williams has a message for you, Lee. And he says, Lee Elberson for president. Is it too late for Lee Elberson to jump into the race? He would win by a landslide. That's from Scott Williams, the fabulous CIC entrepreneur and a good friend of this program as well. I'm going to throw this question to you. What's the pulse of the folks that you advise? Small business owners. You work alongside a lot of very, very early stage businesses or businesses that are about to launch. What's the pulse of the entrepreneur when a lot of times is a solo, a one-man shop?
Yeah, so I think, 2 weeks ago, it was panic, disbelief. But I think that sort of worry and anxiety has turned into optimism, because the businesses that I advise and we work with at CIC is, we're telling everyone you should look at this as an opportunity.
Yes.
I give the example, our business Clayborne, we've talked for years about, well, we really need to make a better value proposition for virtual learning, and we need to move to a different scheduling platform, right? We need to do a more robust scheduling platform, but there's all these things that stand in the way. And then when something like this happens, we think, well, guess what? We don't really have a choice. We have to move to these systems. And as you transition to new systems and you pivot, you realize, there's a lot of benefits to this. And what's going to come out of this on the other side is, maybe we get over this in 2 months, maybe we get over this in 4 months. We'll have two different systems, and we'll be able to say, what did we like about this system, and what did we like about this system? And now we're going to come out of this even stronger. I think every business is going to come out of this leaner, because the first thing we did is cut those discretionary costs. So you're going to be leaner, and you're going to have more robust systems. So I think that's what the entrepreneurs are doing. And so the catering businesses out there, the nail salons, they're thinking, how can I use my skill sets, and what did my clients really come to me for, and how can I still provide that? A lot of hairstylists have come to me and said, a lot of my clients come in and they're obviously there for a haircut, but they need somebody to talk to. So maybe I can start a social network where I'm just getting everyone together and I'm giving them these tips. And so it's a way for me to generate revenue, and I'm actually feeding their concern, which is that they needed somebody to confide in. And so I think, again, it's just a great time to explore. It's an opportunity for your business, and it's an opportunity for you to understand what your customers need.
Elberson, our guest, guys, CEO, Clayborne Education on the Dominion Custom Homes Hotline. I love that topic. I think about that topic often. I'm going to say two things and pass the baton back to you. The entrepreneurs, and there's many of them that are watching the program right now, put the panic aside and start to innovate and pivot your model. In hardship comes great innovation. And the businesses that come on the other side, the businesses that make it to the other side of COVID-19 are the ones that are going to expand and gain market share, because they will pick up clients, customers, and market share from competitors who have folded. So pivot, persevere, move forward, and you will come out ahead of this. More questions coming in for Lee Elberson. This is from Richard Needham. He says, Jerry Miller, can you ask Lee this question? If high schools are going pass-fail, what should students be doing now so they can stand out when applying to college? Thank you very much.
Whew. All right. That's a thick question. So, yeah, if we pivot to what's happening with the school systems, I think I'm very concerned about what this effect is going to have, not just on students right now, but what is this going to have for the next decade of education? Because the small, nimble schools like Regents and Renaissance, they immediately pivoted to virtual learning environments, and in general, their students had resources to be able to attend classes online. Big schools like Charlottesville High School and Albemarle High School, they've got a much more difficult problem ahead of them. They are trying to figure out how to deploy massive amount of resources to a very diverse population, some students who don't even have an internet connection. And so, how do you grade them fairly when there's just such a major resource gap amongst those students? And so I think the name of the game right now should be structure and accountability, because as much as you might be, you could criticize any school for, they should have done better with integrated math. They should have hired another history professor. They should have done this. Regardless of your criticism, the one thing that schools have always provided is structure and accountability. And with that gone, students, it's basically just one long snow day to them, right? The worst thing they can do now is to start summer this for now and then have it last 6 months, because without those activities, without those extracurriculars, without Camp for Real summer camps, they're home playing video games all the time. And so the students probably most in danger are the juniors, right? Juniors are thinking, okay, well, I was supposed to take the SATs and the ACTs, and those looks like they've been canceled until probably July, maybe later. I don't know what to do about that. I was supposed to go on college visits. I can't visit the colleges. And maybe the question is are colleges even accepting students, right? I think that's the main thing. Like, what are colleges doing? I guess to answer that question, colleges, they're not going anywhere. They're still going to be accepting students, but everybody is going to have to be more flexible. So colleges are, they're extending commitment days. All of them are most likely going to some sort of rolling application deadline that, they're loosening up those sort of restrictions, and they have to be flexible and be understanding of that. And so students need to realize that the plan's not off. We're just looking at a delayed timeline. And so again, this is an opportunity for students to sort of rise to the cream of the crop, because if most of the kids are sitting around playing Call of Duty, or on TikTok, and you're the student that's still putting that structure in place, you're actually going to be better positioned than you were before. So it goes into what we were talking about before, Jerry. It's an opportunity for students to get a taste of college life, right? College isn't all about structure and accountability. It's, hey, you're going to have a paper at the end of the semester, and I'll check in on you at various times, but you have to have a lot of self-structured time.
Lee Elberson crushing it right now. Keith Smith is giving you props from one Marine to another one, Lee Elberson. Scotty Williams says
Rob?
Camp for Real is offering virtual spring break camp next week. He says it's an online dance class. We will do so moving forward. He's also given props to Vi Meal Plans. They'll do a healthy cooking tutorial and provide recipe cards for our virtual campers. I see CIC watching the program. A lot of your graduates watching the show as we speak. Throw this to you. This topic came up. I had Lloyd Snook, Charlottesville City Councilor, on the I Love CVille show right before, I'd say about 10 days ago. Okay? It might have been last Thursday. In fact, I'll give you the exact date. I'm going to look at my phone here, so I'm 100% accurate on this. I know it was on a Thursday. So, Lee, it was Thursday, March 19th. So here's the thing. A lot has changed since Thursday, March 19th. I mean, we're talking 2 weeks. Okay? 2 weeks in COVID-19 is like 2 years, right? Okay, so here's the thing. 2 weeks ago, Lloyd on this show said there's a 25% chance that UVA students never return to grounds again. That college curriculums and college moving forward, if COVID-19 continues to go longer and longer and longer, and we become more confident with online learning and doing this right here, that the college model is going to be revolutionized. And we already know University of Phoenix is a perfect example of people doing this. We know Helen Dragas, I think I'm getting her name right, at UVA. She wants to go to a digital online model with the curriculum. This topic to you. 2 weeks ago, City Councilor Lloyd Snook said 25% chance that students never return to grounds again. If we go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into 2020 and get more confident with this technology, how does this impact college and human behavior when it comes to spending 4 years at a school, living at a school?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with Lloyd that this is going to change the college landscape. We're not going to go back to business as usual because, again, this is an opportunity now for colleges to explore other models, maybe other potential revenue streams. I would probably disagree with him on the probability that they never go back. I think that it's going to be a transition. UVA operates on a pretty massive budget, and a big part of that budget is keeping up with the buildings. But I do think that we're going to start to see a transition in most of the school systems. I think that, again, this is an opportunity. That some of the things being tossed around is, are we going back in the fall? And no one is 100% certain of that. In fact, some of the figures say, well, we're only about 50% sure we'll start on time. So they're thinking maybe we should go to year-round school, right? You set up 4 semesters throughout the school year, and students can elect to take 3 of those semesters, right? And so you sort of take that month or those weeks off as you see fit, and that allows a lot more flexibility for families. And it's, just a lot more similar to what you'll expect in the job world, where you're not necessarily structured to, you always have this time off. So I am 100% agreement that this is going to change the college landscape, but we are talking about institutions that have been around for 1,000 years now, and change will probably be slow. I don't think they're going to close the doors to colleges immediately. I think it is going to be a transition as we move to this, but it's going to be a much more rapid transition than we've seen before.
And playing devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show here. This is a great conversation, and I see people really showing interest on the Facebook pages about this. The board of directors at UVA and any college in America, presidents like Jim Ryan at any college in America, they want students to come back to grounds to maintain their margin on the cost of tuition and to continue their business models moving forward. The last thing that they want is to go ASAP to a digital-only model. So I know that they're pushing for them to return to grounds. This topic came up with Brian Combs on the program at the top of the hour, at 12:30 or so. I said, what's happening now in the music industry, Lee, where artists, small-time artists, are live streaming on social media, they have the same tools at their disposal now, dropping Julia, the band from Charlottesville, or Chamomile and Whiskey, or Disco Risque. These Charlottesville bands have the same tools in their tool belt as the Dave Matthews Band, as, say, Fish, okay? And what I mean by that is Dave Matthews and Fish, so much of their model is selling out arenas and pavilions and getting the revenue that comes from tickets and the merchandise that comes from selling T-shirts, et cetera, hats, et cetera. They can't do that now. So all these musicians have at their disposal is live streaming like we're doing. It's the democratization of the music industry, COVID-19. Is COVID-19 also the democratization of education once we can figure out access to internet? And what I mean by that is, if education is now going to be more online-centric and everyone has consistent, and not everyone does, but in a world where everyone has a consistent ISP and internet access, can this not be the democratization of education?
Yeah, ideally, yes. I definitely think it could, but I think that there's a number of roadblocks, and something I have run into many times with our foundation, the Better Future Foundation, where we try to serve under-resourced first-generation college students, is that I came from a fairly resourced background. I mean, my parents were both first-generation college students, but it wasn't ever really a discussion of whether or not I would have resources, whether I would have my own room, whether I'd have an internet connection. And when I've tried to solve problems for some of my first generation under-resourced college students, I realize that sometimes I don't really even understand the problem. And I think what school provides is it's a completely different setting than your house. And I think that's good for in many ways, but if your house is not conducive to learning, if you have other people around, if you can't have like an isolated studio to yourself where you can just focus on what the teacher is saying, then I think it's going to be difficult. But I think what will come out of this is we'll see the benefits of online learning, and we'll see how to navigate this, because I think what younger students struggle with is being in front of a digital device and not feeling like, oh, well, I need to look on Facebook, or I need to play Candy Crush, or I'm playing Fortnite while in class, and it's like, no, that's not how this works. You have to give this undivided attention. And so I think that's what will come out of this is we'll find better ways to supplement the school system as we transition out of this.
Dude, you were, per usual, in fuego. And I would be remiss not to ask your question this. I'm asking all our guests this question. We're doing a couch tour of everyone's home office, man cave, or their home studio. Yours looks pretty dope, my friend. You see the Marine flag over there that listeners are already giving you some props for. Is that a bookcase behind you?
Okay. So Jerry, this is where it
all right, so that's a fake background right there.
Yeah, here, I'll tell you what. You want me to give you a quick tour real quick? Okay, so you can see, if you lift it up, it's actually just a sheet that makes it look like a bookshelf, right?
That is awesome.
My desk, my computer system has many. I got my computer mounted on the wall. I got about 5 or 6 monitors here, but you probably can't see it. What's really trick here is I have a white noise machine outside that's operated by a remote. And then I also have an in-session light so that my fiance knows at any time that when the little red light's on above the door, I'm on the air, right? I'm in session. So, I think that's just some of the tricks of the trade. And
can you show us the in-session light? Can you show us the light, please, in the hallway, please?
All right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll turn it on for you. How about that? Let's do right this. So it's right here.
Did your fiance just say, "Oh no"? Is that her?
Yeah. She knows I'm giving a tour, so she doesn't want me to go out there and give a tour. She's in her home office is a little bit different than mine.
Okay.
She's working from the couch, so she's not. She doesn't have the same sort of discipline I do in terms of working in the office all the time.
Lee, you are a cool dude. All right, Lee, I miss you. Thank you so much. I have fun chatting with you, dude.
Yeah, it was great, man. Hey, a quick question for you. What are you doing in this social distancing? We don't have racquetball and squash courts, man. What can we do? I've been watching a ton of squash online.
Lee, it's been so brutal for me. It's been I love being around like you and Rachel who came on the show and Brian Combs. I feed off social interaction and the energy. Like that is my reason to get up is to be around people. I love you know it. Just like it's been brutal, dude.
Yeah, you got to get out and go on runs, man. It has been nice. We're getting some good weather, so we're getting the time where we can run. But man, I tell you, as soon as ACAC is open again, I'm going to be on those squash courts. I miss it.
You too. I think you were fantastic today. I'll reach out again to get you on.
Love to. Always love being on the show,
Have
Jerry.
a good one.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Lee Elberson, that was absolutely fabulous. Lee Elberson crushed it. Judah, this is what I like to do. Judah Whitcower is our director. Judah, I would like to do this. I'd like you to take from today's show, please, sir, take the end of each interview where we did the tour of people's home offices, their kitchen, their basement, or their studio, and let's turn it into a montage sizzle reel that we can play in future shows. Lee, Rachel, and Brian, you were awesome. Today's show was dynamic. 3 guests flawlessly integrated into the show. We are keeping a positive perspective, and we will continue to persevere. We will continue to pivot. We will continue to be positive. And we will continue to do our thing at the I Love CVille Network. We're not going to let anything bring us down. Tomorrow's program is dynamic as well. On tomorrow's show, Vincent Zorn is going to join us. He's going to be playing live music from his studio and his home. Along with Vincent Zorn, Berto and Madeline Osalis are going to join us. They're going to be playing live music from their home as well. We have 5 different musicians, I believe, coming on the program tomorrow. And we're going to have a good time in an effort to save the Bebedero. The Bebedero, the fabulous Mexican restaurant in the downtown mall, is like a lot of the restaurants in Charlottesville in a very tough position. So we're going to welcome 4 to 5 musicians tomorrow on the I Love CVille show at 12:30, and we're going to allow these musicians, we're going to encourage, and we're going to offer this up and say, do your thing, and in an effort to save the Bebedero on the Charlottesville downtown mall. That's what we want to do on the I Love CVille show. I want to thank Brian Combs for joining us. I want to thank Lee Elberson and Rachel Burns for joining us. My name is Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille show, and we encourage everyone that's watching this program to keep their chin held high, keep heading 2 steps forward. Even if you go 1 step back, keep going forward, and we got this as a team, guys. Enjoy your afternoon. Take care.